you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird, and I'm here to review the 2024 release called Beezle. Now, this one is one that when it first dropped, it was getting a lot of buzz, at least in the circles I run in, and a lot of people were saying, oh, this is great, this is awesome, and I kept waiting for it to hit streaming, and it just never did. So I went ahead and looked it up on Prime, and it was only like $7 to rent, so I went ahead and rented it. And I will start out by giving my overall thoughts and say that I enjoyed this movie. I think the end was weighted pretty heavily in my thought process on it. If the ending hadn't been what it was, then I would have maybe liked it a little bit less. But honestly, everything was well done, and it's an engaging story, and it's told in a way that really spoke to me because I'm a big found footage fan, and this isn't a found footage movie, but there are good chunks of the film that are told via someone holding a camera, and I think the whole thing worked very well, but I think those sections definitely worked well along with them. So I was really impressed with the movie, and I dug that it didn't hold back. That's something that is, unfortunately happens sometimes, in the horror genre, or a lot of times in the horror genre, but it's becoming more frequent where people just go for it, and I feel like this movie went for it, especially with the end, and I really dig that it does that, and some people don't like the kind of things that this movie does, but I think it works great, and it's been being done for decades in film, so I don't think it's as taboo as some people think it is. But I really enjoyed the film, and that's as much as I'll say about any of that. Let me get into the story. The story I'll just tell you that it's written by Aaron Fradkin and Victoria Fradkin, and it's directed by Aaron Fradkin. So I'm not sure their relation, if they're husband and wife or brother and sister, but nonetheless, they wrote it together, and then Aaron directed it, and the blurb is, over 60 years, 3 guests of a cursed home discover an eternal witch who lives beneath it with an insatiable thirst for human souls. And that is an apt description, but I would say an insatiable hunger for human souls would be more apt, because there's definitely some eating going on, and that's part of what is so aggressive about certain aspects. And yeah, so that is the long and short of it. Over the course of 60 years, we follow 3 different groups of people / individual people. I mean, they're individual people that are the main characters, but we see kind of everyone in their orbit for that segment. So it all makes sense, and it all goes together very well, but that's why it's separated the way that it is. It's over the course of that many years. And yeah, it's different people encountering the situation that this house pretty much sucks them into. And they're all a little bit different in how they, go down. I mean, for being the same thing, someone or someone's move into this house and slowly learn about the witch in the basement, and then what ensues after that. I mean, that's kind of as much as I want to say about the story, because I don't want to spoil anything, but that's what's interesting about it. And like I said, a couple of the people end up using cameras because of various reasons, and it's not out of place. It makes sense, or at least it makes enough sense for me. And again, I appreciate found footage, so the presentation of those segments worked really well for me. So yeah, story-wise, I was happy with it. It was not huge. It wasn't the most complicated of stories. They're all pretty light on the story, quite frankly, because there's, a limited amount of time to tell each of these portions of the story. And so, not necessarily the deepest, but it's still really engaging. And the acting, I really appreciated throughout. I think everyone played their role very, very well and kept me engrossed. No one took me out of everything, and I appreciated what everyone brought to the table. A lot of people in the film had to make like they're scared, and I think everyone did so effectively. Sometimes that's the unfortunate reality of some horror movies, that some people in them just don't know how to look genuinely scared, and never ran into that here. And I will say that the filmmaking was really engaging. It was very quality, especially for the stories that they were telling. It was utilized to help tell the story at times, and it kept you engaged throughout. Like, there wasn't some things where you're just like, oh, what is that shot? You know, it all worked very well together, along with everything else. I mean, it was a very well-made movie overall, I must say. But yeah, cinematography-wise, I appreciated it. I think they did a really great job. There was a lot of unnerving angles that were used to build tension, and I feel like, you know, sometimes cinematography is just so kind of blah or so rote that it doesn't even aid in the tension building. But this one, they for sure knew what they were doing as far as that goes. As far as the sound design and the score, I liked it very much. The score, I can't even remember. I was so engaged with the story and so into what was being told. I didn't take much note of the score, but that's not always to say that I didn't like the score or that the score is not good. It's just that I didn't take particular note on my first watch through. But the sound design was very well done. There's a lot of crunching and grossness and wailing and moaning and various sorts of noises that are, you know, keyed throughout. And when you experience them the way the film has you, like, it does help bring you into the storytelling. So I liked that. And then finally, the effects. There was a lot of practical effects in this, a lot of gore as well, and I very much appreciated it. I'm sure there was probably some CG enhancement here and there, but I mean, I could be wrong on that, but mostly what I saw was practical. And the makeup effects were really cool, especially for the witch. It's not a spoiler to say there's a witch in this. It's in the description. So, yeah, I really think they did a good job once they reveal the witch. And then there was other makeup effects throughout that were very cool and quite effective as well. So yes, the special effects and the makeup effects were really good in the film, and I think a high point for sure. So yeah, guys, I don't want to say much more than that. I think you should go in as blind as I did, which is not knowing anything more than the description. So I didn't really go over much more than that. So I think you're still good to go in and have a very good and surprising time. And yeah, just be ready, because it has some heavy moments. You know, so yeah, that's all I'll say there. But thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And until next time, I've been Cecil Laird, and remember, stay scared.